Hello second semester multimedia students from KIA. I'm going to demonstrate the basics of cookies to save data in cookies. You have already seen how to save data in session variables. For example, with this login system where we have 3 pages if we're not logged in. When we log in with a certain user, the system recognizes my name that I typed in as the user. When I go over to other pages, the admin.php still remembers what I typed in. It's because it's saved in a session variable. That session can be unset or destroyed with a script, and for that we have this. We see that the navigation has changed when I'm logged in, but when I press log out, there's a script that will destroy the session. So I say log out, and now the session is not there anymore. So in order to see the admin area, I need to log in again, and I can log in with another user because there are 2 users, and I have access to the other pages. In profile, it remembers the user that is logged in, so I can log out again. The database, in this case the name of the database is called tests because I'm working in my local host. There's a table called members, and the members table have a column for the ID, the first underscore name, last underscore name, email, the name of the image, PW for the password, and you can see it's encrypted with Chime1, and the registration date. So for logging in, we're using the first name and the password. But this makes use of session variables. But it's also possible to save data in cookies, and I'm going to do that to count the visits of the user. So quickly, the login page is the one that sets the sessions. So here we have the query, select everything from members, where first name is a certain name and a password a certain password. And if there is a result when we fetch the object, from the result, if there's something there, this will be true, and we will then have a valid user, and we can define the sessions, and we can access the ID from the database, the first name from the database, the image column, and the email column, and save them into the respective session variables with session ID, session name, session image, session email. And then we give the user access to the admin.php because it's a valid user. If there's no result from the query to the database, then we redirect the user to login page.php rejected with a get variable rejected. In order to define a cookie, we could define it here. When we have a valid user, then we can set a cookie. But we should also be able to count up the cookie value when the user logs in again and again. So for that, we need an if-else statement. We'll start by writing it. If-else, like this. So if something is true, go to the first part of the structure, else go to the next part. The condition this statement is going to look for is whether there is a cookie set or not. So if if is set, then we ask for cookie and a certain cookie. We are going to look for a cookie with a name, let's say Julio. Julio is a username, but it could also be Alan, because Alan is also a user. So I will create a cookie with the name Alan or a cookie with the name Julio. But that depends on who is logged in. So from the database, we have first name depending on what user is logged in. So, and that is saved into the session name. So that one I'm going to use. I'm going to make a new variable saying name equals, and then, not to misspell it, I'm going to copy and paste the session. So this will hold either Julio or Alan. So that means that here we can replace it with the $name. So if it's set a cookie with a certain name, then I will say with a comment here, say count of the visit number. Else, if the cookie is not set, then we need to define it. So set the cookie. And we'll start by setting the cookie. So if it doesn't exist, we are going to create it when the user logs in for the first time. So set cookie, and this function takes several parameters. It takes the name of the cookie, and the name of the cookie is going to be $name. So $name, let me see here. So we'll say $name, that will be either Julio or Alan. The next thing it takes is the value, and it's the first time the user or the cookie is set, so it will have the value of 1. And the next thing is an expiration date. So a cookie will exist, let's say a day, a week, or a month. So for example, we take the time that we have now and add 60 seconds. So then the cookie will exist in 60 seconds. But if we multiply by 60 minutes, then we have an hour. And if we multiply the hours by 24 hours, then we have a whole day and night. And then this cookie will exist in 1 day. If we then multiply by 30, we'll have a month, about a month. And then we can have a parameter that is a path to where is the cookie going to be saved. And / means in the very root of the domain. So you have the name of the cookie, the value that's going to have, the expiration date, that is the time from now, plus a month in seconds, and then the path to where the cookie is going to be saved. It means that now the cookie with a certain name is being set. It means that we want to display that cookie, and we go to our website and we log in here and say Julio. Then we are directed to the admin page. Here in the admin page, I would like to display how many visits the user Julio has been logged in. So I go then back and find my admin.php. And here I say, hi Julio, this is your admin page. Here I would like to add like this, say log in, then I will say a PHP block, and that, and then I want to echo a variable I'm going to create, $num visits, semicolon. So I'm going to find out how many visits did the user have, and that should be saved in the cookie. So you can see here, if there is a session ID, it means that there is a user that is logged in. It means that the cookie that we have set when the user logged in should also exist. So $num visits is equal, let's go cookie like this, and I'm going to look, if Julio is logged in, I'm going to look for the cookie Julio. If Alan is logged in, I will look for the cookie with the name Alan. But we know from here, from our session variable, who is logged in. So session name will hold either Julio or Alan. So, and that is in $name. So I will ask for the cookie with the name of $name, will be either Julio or Alan. Semicolon. So num visits, and we use it here. So the cookie is accessible all over the site, and it's saved in a text file in the user's machine. So the browser saves a file locally. I'm going to save this, and then we can go and try to log in again. So we say Julio, like this, and logged in 1. Okay, if I log out and log in again, and see here, logged in 1. So why is it still 1? Well, it's because in our login we are not counting up yet. We are only setting the cookie if the cookie doesn't exist. So in order to count up, we can reuse the same. We will set the cookie with where we will count 1 up. So we will copy this, and then we'll set the cookie, the same cookie, but instead of saying 1, so it should be something plus 1 here. So what is the value of the actual value of the cookie? Well, that is actually, we can get it from the cookie here. So it is defined. So $cookie name, it will take the value of the cookie and add 1 to that, and we'll keep the expiration date, so it will be updated and it will saved in the root. So now I should be able to count up. So let's see. Refresh this one. I will say log out, sorry, and we log in again. Like this, and now I've been logged in 2 times. I can log out, and I can actually try to open my inspector, because through the inspector we can access some resources and some other interesting things. For example, here we can go to the application panel, and we can see the cookies, some session storage. So here we have my cookies on my local host. We can see there's a cookie with the name Julio, the value 2, and the path is in the very root. So if, for example, Alan logs in and there is no cookie with the name Alan yet, but since it's not set yet, then it will be set with a value of 1. So we can then go here and see Alan has a value 1. So if Alan logs out and log in again, like this, we see now that Alan, the cookie with the name Alan, has now the value of 2. We also see the expiration date here, that is from now on and 1 month ahead, so 9th of December. It's almost Christmas, I see. And the way that we remove the cookies is to set the expiration date to an earlier date than the date of today. How is that possible? Well, we can just try to do it here. So instead of counting up, just to reset it, I'm going to say minus and a certain value. Let's say 3000 seconds. So it's the time of the server minus 3000 seconds. So let's see what will happen then. So we can log out and we can let Alan log in again. And we see that we got directed to the admin.php, and now the cookie doesn't exist, so we get an error. It was not the appropriate place to delete the cookie. But nevertheless, we can inspect here and go to the applications and see that Alan, the cookie with the name Alan, doesn't exist. And that's why we can't use it here. But we can go back to the counting up and save this and log out. Can we log out? Yeah, we could log out. So now logging in with Alan 1, 2, 3 and submit, and then we see that Alan now has the value of 1 because it was reset through the expiration date. Okay, these are the basics of cookies. So we need to decide when to set the cookie, if it's a visitor counting, when to count it up, and also when we want to display it, we need to make sure that the cookie exists. So we shouldn't try to display a cookie value if the cookie doesn't exist. There are some rules that developers need to know about, because we can't just, now it's actually not legal just to save data in cookies without having the acceptance from the users. So that is then something that we need to be aware of. I hope that was useful and that you can experiment using cookies.